Hi, welcome to week 6, and I want to start by going back to the very beginning of this course. In the very first video, I told you about WannaCry. That was a problem the NHS had in 2017. It involved operations were cancelled, ambulances were diverted, patients' data was locked away. And there was a patch that would have prevented it. And the patch had been available for 2 months, and it was even free. Not only that, Microsoft had flagged it as critical, but the NHS did not apply it. Well, when I brought this up before, I said that I pointed out that the attackers did not need to be brilliant, they just needed the defender to be careless. That's an unfair characterization. Careless implies that the NHS was not paying attention. That's not true. They were. The IT teams knew the patch existed, they knew it was critical, but they also knew that applying it meant testing every clinical application for compatibility, scheduling downtime across hundreds of hospitals, coordinating with dozens of legacy systems that nobody supports anymore. The cost of patching was visible, immediate, and high, even though the patch itself was free. And crucially, it came out of this year's budget. The cost of not patching was invisible, uncertain, and crucially would be somebody else's problem. This is not carelessness. This is economic reality. It's economics. It's what this week is about. This week is about why security fails, and it turns out that the answer is usually not technical, it's economic. The people who could fix a problem are not the people who suffer from it. The people who decide the budget are not who decide the budget are not the people who bear the risk. Anderson chapter 8 calls these misaligned incentives. And once you begin to look for them, you see them everywhere. But this week is not just about why these things happen, it's also about what we can do about them. So we are combining the two things, the economics of security, why these breaches happen, why patches do not get applied, why insecure software keeps getting shipped, and the practical toolkits of defense. Firewalls, network, segmentation, monitoring, detection, incident response. What you actually do when the alarm goes off. This is all the subjects of this week. So lesson 6.1 in particular is about the economics. The externalities, the incentives, the asymmetry between attacker and defender. Have you ever wondered why there are so many breaches despite us knowing how to prevent them? That's your answer. Lesson 6.2 is the defender's infrastructure, firewalls, segmentation, defense in depth, the practical tools. Lesson 6.3 is detection and monitoring, logs, kill chain, stuff like that. How do you actually notice when something is wrong? Lesson 6.4 is incident response. What happens in the first hour after you detect a breach, and the difference between organizations that recover and organizations that do not. Last lesson 6.5 ties it all together at the board level, risk registers, cyber insurance, regulation, and how to make the business case for security. In the coursework, I'm going to take you through for the coursework, you are going to produce a board level security report for the AtherGuard Vault, a risk register, an incident response summary, and a cost benefit analysis. This is the document that a real security consultant would need to produce. It pulls together everything we have done in the several weeks up to now. In the practical session at the end, I will go through a kind of post-mortem on a made-up scenario of a security thought. That should help. So start with lesson 6.1 and prepare to think about security differently. Again, I'll point you to the right parts of the book, and I will see you at the end of the week.